Welcome back to the UIA Trusted Partners Podcast. On today's episode, I have the first ever returning guest, Aaron Frederick, starting strength coach at Starting Strength Omaha. But I was surprised today with a new guest as well. We have Brittany Frederick, Doctor of Occupational Therapy at Starting Strength Omaha. Guys, how are you today?
Doing all right. How's it going, man?
We're good.
I'm doing
Glad to
well.
be here.
Yeah, I'm happy and excited that you both are here. I think I was a little surprised that you were here, Brittany. We've met a couple times, different networking, different events there. But I'm happy to have you on here because I'm going to really appreciate your outlook and perspective on some of these questions. And then Aaron, super excited to have you back in the building as well. Your episode is actually one of our top listened to episodes here at the UIA Trusted Partners Podcast. So first off, thank you for being a returning guest, and thank you for the work that goes into getting those listens and getting that publicity out there.
I try to push it and share it as often as I can. I have a lot of people who have heard it and they liked it and they shared it with their friends and family, and I think it got a lot of people to start listening to the rest of your podcast as well.
I think so as well. It's genuine thank you from me because I do think that our episode was a really strong episode that helped captivate for the rest of the episodes that kind of helped pick up that momentum.
I'm still wondering why my second time back and there's still no strippers.
Well, those cost money. And of course you have your wife in the building, so
she knows what she signed up for.
I'd rather not get on her immediately bad list right off the bat. I'll always take some time there. Yeah. Now, first off, again, thanks for being back on the show. I want to know what's new, what's going on. I know that you guys are now officially set. Brick and mortar, open door.
Oh, yeah. Open, running classes. We have several classes that are pretty full.
We've been open for about 6 weeks now.
Yeah, I think it's about 6 weeks, 8 weeks. It's kind of weird because we were already coaching before the brick and mortar opened, so it's kind of hard to remember. So it was, I think, the 1st of August was actually when we opened the doors.
The official date is like July 29th. But
sure.
Yeah, so we've been open for about 6 weeks and things are going good. We picked up some good momentum, getting our classes full with new members and getting people stronger.
Yep.
I love that, and I'm excited again for this episode. Now, for the folks that maybe didn't catch the first episode and maybe new listeners that are going to pick up and maybe go back to that episode after this one, can you tell us just a little bit about what you do, what is Starting Strength, and how do you correlate to that? And that question goes for both of you. We'll actually start with you, Brittany. We'll start there.
So Starting Strength gyms, what we do is we take everybody and we want to get them stronger, and we do that by using basic barbell movements. Me, as a doctor of occupational therapy, I look at it from a very specific point of function. Strength is the foundation of life. You have to be able to get on and off the toilet. You have to reach overhead. You have to pick stuff off the floor.
Yeah.
And what do every single one of these represent? A squat, either a bench or a press, and a deadlift. Mm-hmm. If you can move a barbell, that's 45 pounds, and we can add weight each week, it's going to set you up in a better position for life in general.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then you don't have to come see me in an outpatient capacity.
Also a very, very fair statement. Now, Brittany, I'm very curious, how does a doctor of occupational therapy, how does that play into the exercise and the training and the strength building component that is Starting Strength Omaha? I'm very curious how that really ties together and how that's a real benefit for the clients.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, the squat mimics a getting on and off the toilet or getting on and off the chair. And as we get older, if we're not strength training, that will begin to diminish, and simple tasks like that will get harder and harder. And if you're seeing anybody out there who's seen an OT either in a hospital setting or inpatient rehab or in an outpatient setting, we're working on things like transfers, getting in and out of bed, walking to the bathroom, having the capacity to stand at the sink and brush our teeth.
Right.
For some, that can get really, really challenging. And if you're seeing an OT in that setting, I'm not going to say that's too late, but you probably should have started strength training sooner. Because if we can get ahead of it and get you stronger, then when life happens, we get sick or we have to have a surgery, it will put you at a better spot in the long run.
Absolutely.
Well, and that's an important point, like she mentioned there. If you got to that point, you don't want to say it's too late to do it.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. It is definitely a sign that you should have been doing it before.
Right.
But the most important thing to understand is that no matter where you are in your current level of fitness, we can get you stronger starting at that point. And anecdotally, a great story I have, we have a member in the gym. Her name's Kathy. She's a wonderful lady. She's how old?
Oh. Okay, you know what? I think she's make sure that we get this right.
Yeah, she's going to get mad if we say the wrong age.
Well, yeah, we don't want to insult anybody here.
She's over 40. We'll say that. Okay. She's under 60. She's somewhere before. I believe she's 58 years old. I'm not 100% sure. That sounds about right.
Okay.
When she came to us, Brittany's actually going to look it up. I am. She's going to hear this. She's going to hear this podcast. She's going to be so mad that I didn't remember how old she was.
I know. Yeah. 56.
56. I was close. Yeah. She's 56 years old. When she came to us, she could not get on and off of a bench without using her hands and holding on to things to get up. So we would call that effectively at a start point of 0. Right. Sure. And that's where most people are going to be when they walk into a starting strength gym, unless they've already been training and they're just looking for help.
Okay.
But from the occupational side of things, if we can get her stronger, then now that act of getting on and off of a bench translates to getting on and off the toilet, getting out of her couch, things like that. And she's a month in.
Actually, I think she's been training with us for just over a month. And mind you, we struggled getting on and off of a bench, which is the equivalent of getting on and off a chair without using our hands to push ourselves up. Today, she squatted 60 pounds.
Wow.
For 3 sets? For
three sets of 3. 3 sets of 3, yeah.
Wow.
Without a bench, without bands. She just squatted by herself.
Her and a barbell.
Which now means that she can get on and off of a chair without using her hands.
Which she has, obviously had improvement in that, and she can do that now. She's relayed that to us like, oh, it's so much easier for me to do this, this, and this.
Yeah, and I love that.
This isn't the first success, quick
success
story.
This is a very small one.
Yeah, but no, that's a very real one though, because you think about grandparents, you think about older relatives of yours that maybe sometimes they do fit this category that we're talking about. Maybe this is a great starting point of, hey, maybe go have a conversation with Starting Strength Omaha.
Yeah.
See if this is a right path for you, because when you talk about building people's strength, you're not talking about some gym bro gonna dump creatine down your throat until you're big. It is a true training, and it is true to healthy building. And I'd love to have you kind of talk some realisms about what people kind of see shoved in their face about that versus what's actually going to be the true essence of what's going to happen.
So you're thinking like gym culture wise. Yeah. A lot of people think of barbell, and I've actually had people walk in the door and go, oh, I don't know if this is for me.
Exactly.
And it's because the idea is, you see barbells, you see plates, and there's this sudden thought of like, well, this is for gym bros, this is for big guys. It doesn't help that I'm a big guy.
Well, I mean, that's to be fair. I think you being a big guy shows testament to how far you can go.
Yeah, and you can. It can take the full range of 0 all the way to extremes. But we have them come in and we explain to them that the big difference between us and your standard gym is, one, we're not selling you a gym. The gym is a vessel through which the coaching is delivered. Right. So we have a nice facility because we wanted to have a nice facility. We wanted to have a high quality product so that we knew that our racks weren't going to ever fail with someone in the rack or anything like that. But the main focus is that you're getting one of the highest quality coaching certifications available there every time you're under the bar. You have someone who's capable of teaching you as if you don't know anything, or helping you get better if you are already an experienced lifter to begin with. And you don't have to worry about, what's my next program? What's my next set? What's my next rep? What am I going to do when this stops working? That's our job. We also were there to make sure that you're doing your hips and your knees at the right position during the squat, making sure you're tight, making sure you're doing all the things you need to be doing to move correctly. And that kind of helps. Whereas when you picture a commercial gym, it's just a bunch of people standing in front of a mirror, typically doing something that they have come up with or they've seen online. And that can get kind of crazy. Everybody's seen the weird stuff that goes on in commercial gyms.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you something to that effect of, I think you've gotten me coined on this phrase. They're vanity lifts.
Yeah.
They're very showboaty. They're very flashy. They look really cool, but they don't do it.
What does doing a one-legged Bosu ball squat with a dumbbell represent in life?
Yeah.
Right.
And they like to tell you this is functional, right? They like to say, this is functional training, when there's nothing functional about that, right? Your body doesn't work in isolation.
When are you balancing on a ball holding weight on your shoulders?
Yeah, the idea being that you're obviously like working on balance, but Balance is just your ability to produce force against the ground. And a mixture of that with some like proprioception. Ooh, I said it right.
You did say it right.
You did say it right.
I struggle with that word.
With proprioception.
Yeah.
What's the other aspect? Proprioception and
vestibular.
Look at you.
Yeah, I remember.
Nailing it.
Yeah. So it's a combination of your strength with your capacity to actually just kind of know where you are in the world. And if you're weak, but you have good vestibular and proprioception, you're still going to have problems with balance.
Sure.
If you're strong and you have something wrong with your vestibular system or your proprioception, you're going to have problems with your balance. We can help with all of that by getting stronger because it's going to be more bang for your buck. Right? Because the increases that are going to happen in just trying to train proprioception or train the vestibular systems, that's going to happen while you're getting stronger. That's going to happen incidentally.
I was going to say, I'm thinking of how a squat form is and how a deadlift form is. I mean, you are putting yourself lower to the ground. You're building that balance in that square, so to speak, naturally, that you're alluding to. It does build it no matter what. I mean, what you're doing, I can't think of a way to where it's not for what you're doing. And
this is definitely more her wheelhouse than
Absolutely.
mine.
Feel free.
And so,
I mean, you hit it on the head, but I actually wanted to talk more about like walking into Starting Strength Omaha versus walking into a big box gym.
The 24-hour, I walk in and beep, I'm in, and now there's 1,000 people in front of me.
From a female perspective, 15 years ago, when I first walked into a big box gym, I'm like, holy cow, what is this? Like, it's very intimidating to walk into a big space, especially at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, because you have all these big guys in there and they're moving big weights. And you're like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm just going to go step on the treadmill because it's comfortable and I know how to walk.
Sure.
Walking into Starting Strength, you're immediately greeted by a coach who's there to guide you through everything. It doesn't matter if it's, hey, last night I did not sleep at all. I'm not sure what I should do. You have a coach there that's like, hey, we're going to do this. Or they're there on those days where you're like, oh my God, I don't feel like lifting today. Yeah. And he's like, okay, well, we're going to push through. We're going to see what happens. And he knows because I'm that person that's like, I don't want to do this. And he pushes me and then the results end up happening.
Well, and it's not, when we say pushing someone, it's not the pushing a lot of people think they're going to hear from a coach in the gym. It's not, oh, you could do it, suck it up, buttercup. We might playfully say that occasionally.
Sure.
But what we're really trying to do is it's a psychological aspect to it.
Break through the barrier.
Yeah, let's just warm up. Let's see what happens when we warm up. Let's put the bar on our back, do some empty bar sets. How do you feel? Yep. Okay, let's put a little more weight on it, see how you feel. Okay, now you're feeling better. We're starting to notice that, you felt like garbage, but now you've started to move and you started to feel better. Well, let's see how far we can take this today.
This is a term that Aaron's not familiar with, but other OTs and therapists might. But we call it the therapeutic use of self. And what that means is you basically are taking who you are and applying it to the person you're working with. So if I'm coaching Aaron, I'm going to yell at him. But if I'm coaching a 70-year-old
Not just when
woman,
she's coaching.
Life coaching, too.
Life coaching, too. It's called being a wife.
Yeah.
But if I'm coaching a 70-year-old woman, I'm not going to yell at her. Unless that's what she wants from me.
I mean, unless she's telling you to, I suppose.
Well, we definitely treat everybody differently.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because everybody's unique, though. But I know that maybe comes off wrong to some. But in the same regard, if you think about that, no teacher, you think about a teacher, right? They have to teach in this very broad form most times. Yeah. It's very rare that you get to individualize the conversation, individualize the learning. So I think to your point, it's in a good way.
Well, and that's the value of the fact that it is one-on-one coaching. It is personal training. You're just in a small group setting. You're still getting 100% one-on-one time with the coach. So everything I'm doing for that person is specialized to them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and I didn't mean to cut you off on that, so I'd love for you to finish that thought on that.
I don't even know where
that's okay. So that happens. That happens. No, that was my fault. No, it was a good point out though. It's in a good way that they treat you different. It's not a hurtful way. It's not a rude way.
No, unless you really want it to be hurtful and rude.
I mean, if that's your thing, then I guess.
Yeah. We have a client that I feel like
Jason. Yeah, I hope Jason listens to this podcast. I want him to know that he is totally and completely the target of all of our vitriol for a reason. Perfect. He likes it. It's what makes him lift heavier.
Hey, that's good. That's what do they call it? The Atlas's Rock or whatever they. I'm trying to think of the name.
I'm trying to think of what you're talking about. Yeah,
the boulder that you push up the hill.
Yeah, well, a boulder to be pushed up the the hill is a great way to describe Jason. You hear that, Jason? That's you from now on.
I love that. Now, you guys kind of did allude to this a little bit, just kind of from maybe the perspective when you walk into these big box gyms and stuff. But how are these, we'll call them gym bros and these quote unquote trainers, how are they kind of hurting the reputation of the right kind of training, like what Starting Strength provides?
That's a pretty complex question, but
a pretty loaded
I was like,
question.
I know that's a pretty loaded question,
so,
but in as general sense as you can.
Well, I want to be very clear about something. Like, I am not against other trainers.
Absolutely.
Okay? It is not that they're doing things maliciously.
Right.
It is that there's a confusion that occurs sometimes between the differences of training and exercise and practice, right? So you have three different factors there. And in Starting Strength, we're concerned with a 2-factor model, which is training and practice. Most other personal trainers are conflating what exercise and training are. So what they'll tend to do is you'll have some kind of a program where they have you jumping on boxes, dropping down and doing burpees, then running over and doing a power clean, and then rest for a minute, and then go do it again, like a circuit training, right? Well, this is not training by the definition that we actually want to define training, right? Training is a actual planned progression that has a goal in mind. We're going to move your squat from 0 to 400 pounds or 100 pounds or whatever our target is to get you stronger.
So that previous method you alluded to, that would you consider that more like exercise, like aerobic?
That's exercise, which is great. And there's plenty of places that do that well. F45, Cycle Bar, Orange Theory, like this is exercise that they're doing.
You go in there to feel like you did something. You sweat.
Yeah.
I can also go outside in the summertime.
Yeah, I was like, I can walk outside.
Sit in a sauna and do lazy exercise. It's not as effective, but what we're concerned with is making your training as effective as possible so you're not wasting your time in the gym. We want you to get to your end point. We want you to get to your goal. And then once you get there, we want to try and establish a new goal, obviously. The reason I say that it's not the fault of the trainers, it's because it's just a matter of definitions. Of course. That's really all it is. It's just an argument over definitions. And I don't think they're malicious. They have great intentions, and what they're doing does benefit people because everyone obviously needs to exercise more.
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with that. What we want you to do is we want you to separate these two things. We want you to train to get stronger and then go for a walk, go for a jog. I'm not a fan of jogging. I'd rather you go for a swim. But
I was like, I'd rather go for a swim than run. If you see me running, you better start running.
Or get on a bike. Something lower impact.
Like, I strength train 3 days a week, but I always have enjoyed cycling. I don't have the time to do cycling outside, so I have a Peloton, and I'll ride the Peloton 2 times a week. I also enjoy horseback riding. We have clients that go walking, and Aaron's worked with clients that have done competitive sports. Like, strength training, because strength is the foundation of life, everything that you do by getting stronger benefits. So if you're a baseball player, you're going to, by getting stronger, you're going to be able to produce more force.
Yeah, and more force is going to make everything you do that requires less force easier. And that's that's an important thing she just said. She said strength is the foundation of life, right? One of the things we're trying to get people to understand, and this is like it's hard to wrap your brain around this, but there is nothing you can possibly do other than strength training that will have as much of an impact on your life as strength training. If you are a smoker and you strength train, you have not counteracted the smoking, but what you have done is you have exponentially increased your life expectancy. Okay? You're obviously quit smoking. No one's saying be a smoker.
Yes, but you're battling the negative effects. You're not just giving them the full gambit. If you're
obese, get stronger. Not only are you more likely to not be obese anymore, but in addition to that, you're going to have a better time dealing with that obesity. Now, we might want you to lose weight because that's obviously healthier.
Yeah.
But a stronger fat person is better off than a weak fat person.
That's fair.
Right?
I mean, think about the load capacity that person might have to carry around on a daily basis. I had a friend, I remember this individual way back in college. He was a couple grades below mine after I'd graduated, and he was in that same broadcast division. And I remember he was working summer construction for his uncle or somebody that he knew. Dropped a couple degrees off of a ladder, and he was a pretty portly gentleman.
Oh, my gosh.
Snapped his ankle.
Yeah.
That foot is no longer attached.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it was that severe of a break, and there was nothing they could do.
And this is where it comes back to my problem that I have with personal trainers. a lot of personal trainers will get someone that's very large and obese like that, and they'll think, hey, I need to get you to lose weight fast. So I'm going to have you doing box jumps or step-ups. Right. Think about the risk there.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm thinking.
That person hurts themselves. They're done. They're done.
They're not going to go back to the gym.
They're not going to go back to the gym. They're not going to go back and do things. You come to us, our number one priority is get you stronger. Our number two priority is to get you stronger safely.
Yeah.
Okay? I have people.
Actually, Aaron, I think you have those backwards.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I said it backwards. You're right. Our number one priority is to do it safely. Yeah,
I knew what you
know what I meant.
But yes, for the listener, it is the other way around. It is getting stronger safely is monumentally important than just, hey, I'm gonna do all these crazy things because I saw them. I'm gonna ingest all these things because I see them out to try to get stronger. That is misinterpreted. Not the case.
No, we're not trying. So one of the first things we're going to do is teach you how to do it correctly.
Yes.
So that you don't injure yourself. Now, a lot of people are afraid of, for example, the deadlift because, I'll hurt my back. Well, our goal with the deadlift is to make your back stronger so that you don't hurt your back. Are you going to get hurt occasionally? Sure. That's going to happen.
That's life.
That's life. That's life. Going outside.
Yeah, you're going to get hurt walking down your stairs. I
get hurt down breathing wrong sometimes.
Yeah. Sneezing. If you're over 40 and you sneeze, you know that this is a life-risky event, all right? Like, it is just, I've sneezed and been like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
It's like, I feel the end.
That's, like Aaron said, like, we teach you how to do all these movements, and we teach you from your starting point. If that's 0 pounds on your back and squatting from a bench, that's where we start.
Yeah.
We have barbells as light as 20 pounds. We also have loadable dumbbells. So if we can't even pull a 20-pound barbell off the floor, okay, let's use a broomstick so we can just have that movement and practice that movement.
And we have plates as light as a 1/4 pound. So I can increase the load that you're adapting to by as little as 1/2 pound at a time. And that's very easy to do.
We do it systematically where we add... Typically we say we add 5 pounds every training session.
Yeah, sure.
That's not everybody. Some people might be 2.5. Some people might be 1.
Some people might be 10.
Some people might be 10.
Yeah.
We adjust to where you are, and we make changes as needed.
And I think that's what speaks to the individualism of these trainings. Again, you're paying for the coach. You're not paying to walk into a gym and just go throw weights.
Yeah, and that's what the coach's value is.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing to understand is the coach's value is the experience of, I've seen this before. This is how we should approach it. Oh, wait, that didn't work. Let's try this approach instead.
And I don't know, I can't remember if you discussed this, Aaron, on the last podcast, but the difference between a starting strength coach and the difference between a personal trainer, the training and certification you have to go through is vastly different.
Monumentally different.
Starting strength coach, you have to go through I think there's 24 webinars where you have a writing assignment and a coaching assignment that another starting strength coach then critiques, and you either redo it until it's right and then move on, or some will allow you, like if it's like a little, they'll let you move on, but you still have to adjust it to make sure it's right. And then once you pass that, you can go test your actual coaching abilities in a live coaching seminar. And then we're still not done. If you pass there's more.
Yeah.
If you pass that, now you have to present yourself in an oral board. Was it 2 hours?
It was about 4 hours.
I
think they've cut it down, but the earlier boards were about 4 hours for a while.
And it's where you present your knowledge, that you have the knowledge to be able to
speak to what you're doing.
And she's not expressing quite deeply how rigorous this is. Because
now, you and I did on the first episode.
We talked
full
about
detail on that.
That seminar is brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, you're not. Almost no one passes it the first time.
Right.
I think like 1 or 2 people. I think as they said, it's a 10% fail or under 20% people who take the platform exam pass the platform exam. Not first time, just general pass.
Yeah, that should speak testaments to the effort that goes behind the scenes to even walk in the door and get that certification, that certified training. Yeah. That should speak to what goes into this.
Exactly. And I mean, I think almost majority of our coaches, not only are they certified starting strength coaches, but most of the starting strength coaches in the world, I think there's only 120 of them.
It's gone up a little. It's like 130 something, 140 something. Yeah.
But majority of them are also doctors of physical therapy.
Yeah.
They have their doctorates of everything under the sun. Like,
one of the founders, Steph Bradford, she's a doctor of biochemistry, I think. Wow, something like that. Don't quote me on that though. That might be the wrong. I know she's a doctorate in something. And then one of the writers of the book was Dr. Sullivan. I don't remember what he's a doctor. I think he's a chiropractor, but his approach to it was from the medical side of chiropractic and how it kind of ties into like what the Valsalva does and how you can, utilize this stuff for the stress recovery adaptation processes. Yeah.
Interesting. I love that. And I'm very curious too, Aaron, you and I kind of went real deep, kind of personal side of things on the very first episode of like, hey, this is who you are. This is the background. And again, that's why I keep bringing up the first episode for people to go back and listen to that.
Go listen to that. Yeah. Make sure you go
after
listen to
you're
that.
done with this one. But I am very curious how you've utilized your military background to kind of not only figure out this was the right path for you, but to maybe help coaching and maybe help talking one-on-one with people that way to push people. Has that played a real factor into it?
Well, so I have a very, very varied. That's a
very varied.
I have a very varied background from when I was in the military. I don't know how much we went into it on my first time on here, but
I think I don't know if you talked about like the earlier parts of it, but you did talk about how you were a strength coach to a degree in the Army. You got people in shape, and then afterwards you kind of did a few different other strength training programs, and then eventually had found.
So my military career. First off, I joined before September 11th, 2001. So I joined a different military from the military I served in. I was a parachute rigger for the first 8 years in the military. So I was very active, running constantly. There's a lot of running when you're in the 82nd. I think we logged around 16 miles a week.
Wow.
Yeah, which is, for some people who are active runners, that's not a lot. For a 18-year-old kid who hated running, but was just happy to be good at it because he was skinny, it was misery. Let's see. After that, I transitioned over to a different field. I worked some time with the Airborne Special Operations Test Directorate, and then I changed over into Air Defense Artillery, which is a more technical job. I spent some time working in like victim advocacy. A lot of people don't understand that in the military you have multiple jobs sometimes. Right. That was a huge thing for me because that taught me how to talk to people, especially people who were women. Most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. Because as a victim advocate, you have to kind of meet that person where they are. Right. You have to be able to communicate with them. You have to be able to listen and understand what they're trying to tell you, whether or not that's what they're actually saying out loud. That was a huge thing that influenced my ability to coach later down the road, because dealing with survivors and then being able to still keep that open dialogue, it's stressful. Yeah. It's you get a little bit of that stress that they're going through kind of pushes onto you.
That empathy, that getting on each other. I guess the words today are sharing the same vibes.
Yeah. I think the term is shared trauma. I'm not sure if there's an actual. Someone smarter than me might know the right phrase for that.
Yeah, it's like that mirror. Like you're not mirroring their syndromes, but you are picking up on.
You feel it.
Yeah, you feel what they're saying.
It's like watching a cringe comedy, and then you feel embarrassed for the person on the television. It's that same kind of sensation.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, this sucks. After doing victim advocacy, I couldn't do that any longer. It was just too much for me. But I knew I wanted to do something that helped people, and becoming a coach gave me the opportunity to do that in a different capacity. And a lot of the times when I'm coaching people, being able to talk to them and understand empathetically where they're at in anything, because after the first couple months, it's not really as much coaching as it's like a psychology therapy session in between sets sometimes.
I remember, again, this is, we're not going to go how long ago now, but back in the day when I was in a strength training atmosphere consistently, it was always, towards the end when you're kind of like hitting those peaks and you're hitting those just plateaus, so to speak, and there's nobody else in your corner. Yeah. That's an easy way to fall out of it.
Yeah, it is. And you have to be... And that's what I like to say. It's like, as a coach, you're not just there to manipulate the program and plan the progress. You're also there to help that person achieve their goal. Yeah. And that's not always just adding weight to the bar. Sometimes that's making sure that this set, we got 4 out of 5 reps exactly how we wanted them. Yeah. And the encouragement to do that is a big part of it. So coming from the military and then into being a starting strength coach, I think I found that the biggest benefit from the military was understanding what hardship is, and understanding that everyone experiences hardship a little different, and that in the military it's very I don't care where you are right now, do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
And that transition is kind of difficult for a lot of people to the coaching environment where it's like, hey, look, I understand where you are right now. Let's try to take a step forward. But that time as a victim advocate is really what helped with that.
Well, and I think too, from having military service, like your ability to react quickly improves. So in the military, you're taught like, this happens, you do this. This happens, you do that. Like
if you see A, do B. If you see C, do D.
Before anyone thinks she's speaking out of her ass. So Brittany is also retired from the military.
Yeah.
She was military police. She's not just saying that second hand.
I'm not just a spouse. I was actually active duty.
You were actually going to be the next person. I was going to say the same question over to you, but yes, absolutely. I'm curious to what you were about to allude to.
Yeah, it's when you're in a situation, whatever that situation is, you have to be able to react quickly. And I find myself, at least I go with the flow with everything, with coaching, with my OT practice. I just react to what's going on. And this is positive and negative. So
kind of situational reaction.
Yes, that's what, great word for it. That's kind of what you gain is that situational awareness. And then the ability to react appropriately to it.
Yeah.
So knowing like, okay, this happens. So somebody failed a squat.
Sure.
We're not going to panic. We're not going to start causing chaos in the gym. We're going to stay cool, calm, and collected. Make sure that they're safe and get them in the rack. Sorry.
For those of you who don't know, a little hand in the face here. Because all three of us talk with our hands, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Can't help it.
I can't either.
But like, okay, we got them. They're safe.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk about what we're going to do next.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the important part of it. That's what the coach is there for, is the what do we do next?
Hey, what went wrong? This is how we're going to improve it and fix things so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Although it's probably going to happen again.
It can.
It's probably going to happen.
Because here's the thing, is success is built on failure.
Yeah.
I've never known anybody to say, I am perfectly successful.
No.
I've never heard anybody, and if they do, you want to walk the other way.
Yeah, they're lying about something.
We try to avoid failure because we don't want you to fail. We try to make the adjustments before we hit failure, but you're not going to feel great one day. I failed my benches this morning. So when I was benching,
you loaded the wrong weight on the bar.
That's fine.
See, and as coaches, we make mistakes too.
Yeah, exactly. Not everybody's on 100% of the time. Yeah. I've always said that. From working in radio for 7 years, you had to be on, right? And there were days that I was not on.
Yeah,
you just can't.
Literally can't do it.
It's impossible.
And, we all make mistakes. I mean, I've injured myself in the gym doing something stupid because I didn't have somebody there watching me. And as a coach, I should know better,
sure.
Right? So if me, a very experienced person who's been doing this for years, pretty much decades, right, can make a mistake and get injured, right? What makes you think that you, as someone who is been doing this probably 2 or 3 years tops, most people who come to us have done it a little bit, but they've never, you're going to make a mistake.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Like you learn, there's 2 ways to learn. I say this all the time. There's 2 ways to learn. That is repetition and significant emotional event. And if you do those 2 together, if you have repetitive significant emotional events, that's trauma.
Yes.
Let's avoid trauma.
Let's avoid that.
Yeah. We don't want trauma.
Yeah.
No.
But repetition, doing it right, doing it occasionally wrong, is a significant emotional event most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. And again, I think that's, when you're going into something like Starting Strength Omaha, and you have to have that open attitude of accepting the training.
Yeah.
Because I think that's probably got to be one of your frustration points. I don't know if you run into it too often, to be fair, but if you do, it's got to be a frustration point of like, hey, I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I'm trying to tell you the correct way because you're just a little off.
Well, so we actually have a mutual friend of ours, I'm not going to drop his name, made a comment to me, and he said, I'm leery of something that someone says works for everything.
Yeah.
Right? He said, I'm leery of something when you tell me it's going to fix everything, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of that 100% rule. Nothing is 100% effective. Well, so that's a separate conversation of
that's a whole nother.
It is. Yeah. Some things are 100% effective. Breathing oxygen is 100% effective at keeping you alive. Right?
Very, very true.
So, but
drinking water definitely keeps you hydrated.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Right. So there are 100% effective things. Strength training, in my opinion, definitely is one of those. If you ask any doctor, they'll probably tell you that it is.
Well, there's a lot of science to back it up as well.
Yeah, so much. So, there's a shift in the current environment as well. People are starting to learn that, avoid if I want a better body. It's a stronger body, not a thinner body.
Not a fashion body.
Yeah. But, and I just lost my train of thought because we went off the rails there.
We were talking about how a mutual friend of ours gave you the whole, well, I don't believe in something if it's not 100%.
Yeah, but you had said something about, before that, you had said, the hardships of getting people to understand and kind of buy in. Yeah, the buy-in. So that's what a lot of our initial interactions with a person is, right? So you tell me I've never been able to squat. Okay, so let me teach you how to squat. Once you see that you can squat, we've now built a line of trust. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to use that line of trust to tell you, let's try to add a little weight to the bar. Sure. And you're going to do that, and you're going to say, well, that was hard. And I'm saying, but you did it. Right? So now we've built a little more trust.
And that's that pushing that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now, 3 months down the road, when it's really, really hard, and I look at you and I say, look, I know you slept 6 hours last night and you haven't eaten today, and you want to just stop here at your last warm-up. Mm-hmm. But let's put the work weight on the bar. Let's set the safety so we're safe. Mm-hmm. Let's try a rep, and let's see how it goes. And you do that rep, and you come back up. And I just go, hey, one more rep. You got to do 3. You're supposed to do 3 today. Do 1 more. Let's see if we can do 2.
Yep.
You know, you do that second rep and it feels just fine. I mean, it feels like crap. Sure, it feels like crap because you feel like crap.
Sure.
Right? But from my perspective as the coach, watching you do it, the bar speed is the same. It's consistent. Hey, let's do the 3rd rep. Let's see what happens. And it goes. Now we've built a lot of trust because now you've learned that even though you feel like garbage, I'm able to look at that and say, hey, look, you're going to be fine. Do it. And it's the next time this happens, I'm just going to look at you and go, remember last time? Let's just give it a try.
Yeah, I think that's what separates a trainer from a coach. You know, it's somebody in your corner who's actually in your corner, somebody who's there to push you when you need it, somebody who's there to kind of joke around with you if that's your thing, somebody to scream at you if that's what you need. You know, it's somebody who's going to be in your corner specifically tailored for you. Yeah. Which I think just speaks volumes about this business itself.
We're not only invested in you while you're training. We ask, how's your kids? We actually, one of our members, his wife just had a baby.
Clay,
congratulations.
Clay, if you happen to hear this podcast, I'm gonna try to get you to listen to it. Congratulations on your new baby. Yep, Clay's in Colorado right now.
Okay.
Yep, he'll be back with us shortly after he gets everything settled and spend some time with the new baby.
Of course.
That's just we love that stuff. We like to try and build a community. It's not just a gym that is trying to just do gym stuff. Like we went out and had a cookout at Mahoney Park this weekend. Yeah, I should have invited you. Sorry.
Well,
my bad.
But I think we can talk about the climate of our classes, like our Tuesday, Thursday evening class.
Are you talking about the degenerates?
No.
Oh, the one after
the one after that.
Yeah, the 6 o'clock class. Yeah.
One of our clients. She's been training with us before we had our brick and mortar, but her goal was to get a pull up and
chin up.
A chin up. Thank you. She wanted to do a chin up. That's her goal for the year, is to do a chin up. And so we got her set up, and there's 2 other women in this class, and she did a pull up, or a chin up. I'm sorry. She did her chin up. And the women around her were just like rooting her on and giving her so much encouragement. So cool. And like they came in Thursday and they kept talking about it and kept like motivating each other. And so now the coaches are now like, all right, we're just here to coach, and you have this community of
that's important
people that are supporting you too.
Yes, there's actually 4 other women in that class, 5 women in that class, and she abandons me for the record on Thursdays. I have to coach them on my own.
I still Tuesdays, like my OT job, so I still want to do OT stuff.
So I'm stuck in there with 5 women who don't want to listen. But it's a really good time. And what you did miss last night was the same thing happened with Alex's deadlift and with Eileen's squat. She squatted 135 for the first time last night. Yeah, and the whole room is just right there cheering her on.
That's awesome.
You know, I'm right there giving her the cues and the commands, make sure she's doing it right. But honestly, the only reason she stood those plates up was because everyone in that room was like, come on, you got this.
I don't know if anybody else, out there listening's experienced that. I have. It's a different kind of adrenaline rush.
Oh, 100%.
It's a different level of like, I'm throwing this now. There is something very unique about it, and very, like you said, it's almost family feeling, like somebody's pushing you from the back to push you up kind of thing. It's very, very cool, and it's awesome to hear that this is becoming a very tight-knit place to be, and that the door's open for more members to join that, be part of this amazing process. Build yourself better, make your body better with Starting Strength Omaha. Yeah. We've talked a lot, brick and mortar. What I've failed on my part to do is ask you, where is it?
Oh yeah. I guess that's a good thing to know.
So let's throw that in the middle of this.
So we're at 156 in Dodge, over near the Bakers. We're right next to Fashion Cleaners and a rather new Mexican restaurant called El Milagro. Yeah. Great place for a margarita, by the way.
Yeah, they got margaritas.
Good to know.
Yeah, and one of the better Thai restaurants is over there, Thai Isarn.
Yeah, I still need to try that. You've recommended me to go try that, so I think Kimberly and I are going to try to go there this weekend.
It's worth it. Absolutely worth it. Stop in the gym, by the way.
I will. If I'm always in that area, I always try to stop and say hey. Yeah. But yes, beautiful area over there, Pepperwood Village, for those local around here that might know. Now, big question for the listeners, or probably from the listener's perspective, I would imagine you get, is they want to get started. Maybe they're a little self-conscious. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they've had, like you said, maybe there was a traumatic experience in a gym at some point. They're trying to maybe get themselves healthier again. How do you help them, get even into the facility first off? And then how do you really kind of help them overcome that without, driving them out or maybe driving them the wrong way?
Well, the hardest piece of equipment we have in our gym is the front door. Okay, like that is in any gym, that hardest piece of equipment to use is the front door.
It's just such a great idea. That's so great.
I'm full of those, right?
It's great. I love it.
You're full of something.
It is, and we recognize that. Yeah. And what I tell people is just come in and talk to us. A consult is free.
Absolutely.
I don't charge someone for a consult. We don't charge you to get you started. We will get you started, even if it's not with us. Mm-hmm. If you're like, hey, I live all the way in downtown Omaha. I don't have the ability to drive all the way out to Pepperwood Village. I don't know what to do. Okay, come talk to me. You got a Saturday. You can drive out there on a Saturday, right? Come out there on a Saturday, talk to us. We'll give you the tools to go get started on your own. And I'd rather you go do it without me than not do it at all.
Exactly. No, I love that I love that that's the mentality behind it rather than, hey, for sale.
Yeah, no.
And I think that just speaks to your guys' character about that as well and the people that are behind this. And I did want to add on to my question real quick about if somebody's in a constant, we'll just call it a cycle of poor eating, maybe they're not perpetually overweight by any means, but they just aren't eating the best and they're trying their best to change that. What is some of the ways you can maybe help them through some of those? Obviously, starting strength and when you're doing these exercises, you need to have calorie consumption. Yeah. And you need to have the correct calorie consumption.
I think that what we always preach is one step at a time.
Sure.
So let's make one small change. If the small change is you coming in strength training, we love it.
Yeah.
We are going to talk to you about nutrition and make recommendations. But, maybe that first week that you're with us, we're going to be like, hey, eat an extra piece of chicken at dinner. Just get a little bit more protein. Yeah. Or, you drink 4 Celsiuses a day. Or
Scott. we're not poking any members here.
Maybe let's exchange one of those for a glass of water.
Sure. I understand that. Like different little subtle supplements there.
Yeah. And over time, the changes will happen. You are in the 6 a.m. class. You normally don't go to bed till 2 a.m., but you have to get up at 6. So now you're going to be like,
maybe don't go to the 6 a.m. class.
Maybe don't pick the 6 a.m. class.
Either don't pick the 6 a.m. class or,
make that adjustment.
I have to go to bed earlier. Now I'm sleeping better. I feel better. Now I'm starting to eat better. Now I'm keeping up with my kids or my grandkids. The changes happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just have to make that first step. And that first step is opening the door and just coming in to talk to us.
No, I 100% agree. And you guys do introductory courses as well.
Everyone who comes in our gym is going to do a intro course, a one-on-one with a coach, so that if you feel real self-conscious about, I don't want to go in here, I don't know what I'm doing, that's a private session.
Right.
You're not going to be around other people. We're going to help you figure out where you're at before you're around other people so that you can feel safer in that environment.
Right. And I wanted to make a mention of that because we started off as networking associates turned friends, and I wanted to come, experience what this really was because obviously I knew, high school gym lifting, sure.
Yeah.
Not the same. A little bit in some essence, but not the same from Taylor, Nebraska weightlifting. I'll put it that way. But I loved it so much because it was, hey, I'm going to do things a certain way, show you how certain ways gonna go. And then afterward, it was like, well, what do you eat? You know, and you and I kind of had that conversation. And since that conversation, I've effectively changed some eating habits of mine. I've tried to include better proteins, tried to cut out some of the, what you called fun food, I think.
Fun food's fun.
Fun food's fun for a reason, yeah. And you know, I do feel better and genuinely have been trying to change some of those habits because it's one, you don't think about it too much of just, hey, more protein rather than more filler kind of thing. Because you're always kind of taught the vice versa. Throw more salad in instead. Yeah. Where really that might not be the right idea.
Well, and this is a really, really important concept. When it comes to nutrition, there's something that every person needs to get drilled into their brain. Okay. Strength training is fueled by the food you eat.
Yes.
Your exercise is fueled by the food you eat, right? Your body is fueled by the food you eat. The way you eat determines a lot of different things, right? How your macronutrients are oriented, that's your carbs, your proteins, and your fats, determines what you look like. Okay. If you have a high fat, high carb, low protein diet, you will have very little muscle mass almost no matter what you do.
Right.
It'll be a higher muscle mass if you strength train, right? But it will not be as high as it would be if you strength trained and ate more protein.
Right.
So that's that one little change that can make things different. Your micronutrients, your vitamins, your minerals, things like that, those determine how you feel on a day-to-day basis, right? So if you are deficient in, say, vitamin D, you're going to have hormone issues, you're going to have all these problems. Just changing your diet a little bit can have a huge impact on those micronutrients as well as macronutrients. So if you just plan to make a small change like that, like you did, and you cut down on the fun food and you start increasing your proteins, you're going to start getting more of those nutrients that you needed. It's going to make you feel a lot better.
Fun foods don't have as much nutrients in them.
No,
not all of them.
They don't.
Not all of them. Some of them do.
I think pineapple's a fun food. I love pineapple. That's like one of my treats. So to me, but I also like mint chip ice cream. So, here I am sitting here with a Wendy's soda. Obviously, I don't eat perfectly healthy all the time.
He also ate a Tootsie Pop.
And just ate a Tootsie Pop,
So this is all true. But again, you're not encouraging people or really trying to coach people to be the next, Brian Shaw or these Eddie Hall or very famous.
If you want to, we will.
Sure.
But most people don't want to do that.
And I think a lot of people, if they do know who I'm alluding to, these are professional strong men. These are they set records. They have the records, I think, at this time.
They do.
And I've seen some of their videos behind the scenes of, hey, this is what we eat on a day to day. That quantity of food, calorie wise, is insanity. Let alone it's bison, it's egg, it's.
But it's also you need
to
understand that as much as it's unhealthy to eat like garbage and never train, what they're doing is not healthy either.
Exactly.
There's the other end of the extreme. Yeah, so there's a middle ground in there that you can operate within.
But they're also squatting and deadlifting in the 900 plus pounds on a regular
cars. They are specimens of human that
we call it specialization. Right? So we want to preach generalization. We want you generally stronger, generally healthier.
That's a great way to put that because obviously we're talking these are the extremes. These guys are the pinnacle because they went the extreme.
And if we actually go ahead, just touch on it. They have the genetics to support
that too. Brian Shaw is 6'8", 6'9". This dude is massive.
He's huge. Absolutely,
he is massive. Yeah, him and I think the Mountain, the guy in the Game of Thrones. Those guys standing next to each other could shadow an entire elementary school. I'm pretty sure they
could. If you want to see something entertaining, watch Hafthor Bjornsson try to climb into a Fiat.
Oh my gosh,
it's one of the most entertaining things you've ever seen in your life.
I kind of mentally picked up okay, I got to go find this now.
But understanding that may or may not be you. We do have people who walk in the door that are high genetic potential people.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if you're coming to us at Starting Strength and you're not a high genetic potential, we're going to get you as strong and as healthy as we can within your genetic potential.
Right.
That's the vast majority of people in the world. If you're someone who's a former athlete, I coached an Olympian down in Austin, Texas. She was a amazing track and field star. She was actually deaf. That was a very entertaining thing to learn, was learning how to coach a deaf person. I actually picked up a few really cool tricks from that are more applicable than you would think and normal stuff. But
I can imagine.
Yeah, and she was amazing. But this was a girl who could eat anything she wanted, train hard, go and run track and field aggressively, and then not be sore the next day. I don't know about you, but I can't do that.
No.
Yeah, most people cannot do that, right?
Yeah.
And that's what most people is who we're trying to deal with, like most of the time.
Sure. And again, I think back like to my healthiest point in time would have probably been, peak high school at some point or another. And I'm thinking like basketball era.
Yeah.
Man, I remember the training. I remember the days after games. There's no way.
And it's the guy that doesn't have that mentality, that's not beat up afterwards. That's the one that goes further because they thrive on it.
Because, they're just like, man, I'm not tired. I'm going to keep going. I knew a couple guys like that.
They have the genetics that support their ability to recover quickly.
Yeah.
We approach all of our people in a general way until we find
the intricacy, like
whatever it is. I have a knee replacement, or I have the right shoulder doesn't go all the way.
Quick. Yeah, right.
Or like one of our clients, he literally the way his shoulder anatomy is cannot reach directly overhead.
Yeah.
And so we are like, okay, well, we can't have him press, so we have to adjust.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's what we say, like we do generalizations and then we make the modifications to meet the person where they are.
Yeah, and a great example of that is we said strength is for everyone, right? Yeah, 100% of the time it works every time. Not true. If you have muscular dystrophy, you can't come to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't train you with muscular dystrophy. So there's always, a nuanced, there's always a factor associated. Other than muscular dystrophy, there's very few instances in which, there's some counter.
That.
Yeah, there's some counter things. If you're extremely prone to berry aneurysms, like if you know for a fact that you have a possible berry aneurysm, probably you're going into surgery to get that fixed before it kills you. But, that's one of those things that's like, okay, we probably shouldn't train. If you just found out you're pregnant, can't train.
No.
Yeah.
I'll train you if you're not yet pregnant and you plan on getting pregnant. That's different. But you have to start before you're pregnant. Mm-hmm. Or you have to wait until a little bit after the baby's born. Okay, that's just because we want to avoid any complications that are going to complicate something that's already a complicated process.
Yeah, just giving life.
It's not that difficult, right?
Yeah,
I've heard it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Any woman who thinks that giving birth is hard has never had the man flu.
I'm gonna step out of that sentence.
I'm getting the death glare over here.
For our female audience, which is the majority of our audience, you just caused some ripples. No, I'm just teasing.
The majority of our clients are female, and I tell them all the time, it's not that hard. You've had a baby.
Well,
how hard is this? And then they're just like, oh, well, that's
that's a good teaching there, like a good training there. It's like, you've had a baby. Like, this is not as hard as that. No, I like that. That is kind of funny. So, we've kind of touched on this a little bit. I do want just a little more insight on this particular thing. Mm-hmm. How do you discourage a bad habit in the gym? Mm-hmm. Without driving somebody out, maybe from embarrassment or maybe standoffishness?
That's actually not that hard. Generally, we don't have bad habits in the gym.
I was going to say, I almost would need like an example of what you consider bad habit.
So if I come into the gym and I'm coming up to you and I'm like, yep, I'm going to get started with you, and we start the training process. And every time that I come in or your back gets turned for a second, I'm shifting my foot out 40 degrees, or I'm pivoting my elbow wrong on a bench press and doing things that are like bad intentional habits because I'm just getting lazy.
Yeah, so there's no good way to answer this because every person reacts a little differently, right?
Of course.
I have members who I will shame them playfully, and then it's like that's what works for them. It's like, hey, get your elbow out. What are you doing? And they're like, oh yeah. I also have members who it's easier to go up to them and get down close with, hey, let's make sure we're pulling our chest up and out.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're a 72-year-old woman in my gym, I'm not going to be yelling at you from across the room. What are you doing?
Snapping yardsticks.
Yeah, no, that's not our approach anyway.
Right.
But
or we might ask like, hey, you just turned your foot out.
Yeah.
Any reason why?
Yeah.
And sometimes that it's like I didn't even realize I did it. Yeah. Or it's like, oh no, my knee's actually been kind of bothering me, so I'm just doing this. I'm like, oh, well, that's valuable information for us. But instead of turning your foot out, we're going to do something
different.
Yeah, we're going to adjust it more accurately. Yeah, so, but part of the coaching process is that we've built a rapport where when I see you unrack that bar and I see you start to step out, I know your habits ahead of time.
Right.
I know which members are going to have their stance too narrow. So as they're unracking the bar, they're going to hear me over their shoulder saying, hey, make sure your feet are wider than you think they should be. And then I'll look back and say, okay, a little narrower. Yep. But our approach is generally just a matter of fact, flat affect of this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it. One of the worst habits we have in the gym that we have to deal with people, and this is a very small thing, but we like to, if you're going to go from 2 10s on the bar to 2 10s and a 5, put a 25-pound plate on, right?
I hated people
that
who did that. So
the
that's
numbers
laziness.
have to face inward.
Yes. So if I see someone with 2 10s and a 5 on the bar, I'll look at them and I'll say, is there an easier way to do that?
That's
usually that just cues the like,
being lazy. Yeah, I got it.
And 2, during your introduction or your intro, like we talk about these things. Like, because at least half of our members have never stepped in a gym.
Yeah, that's
or
fair.
have never used barbells before.
Sure.
So they don't know that the way that you put plates on the bar is to put a 25 on. Or you put the numbers facing inwards because you have more muscle mass to hold on to the lip than just your thumb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I think
there's these little nuances that we implement in our gym. Or like not putting clamps on a bench.
Yeah.
Like there's these little things that we know instinctively because we've been doing this for 10 plus years that our members who never have done them don't know.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. My intentionality behind that question more so was to kind of open people's eyes, the listeners at home, that this isn't your gym you walk into, you just go grab your weight, you go do what you want, and the coach is right there kind of keeping it. It's not that way at all.
You're
not going to get away
through everything you do. From the moment you walk in that door, we're telling you like, hey, you walk in the door and I'm going to ask, hey, all right, what's on our agenda for the day? Pull up your app and let's take a look at it.
It's usually followed up with, are those the shoes you're going to wear?
Well, no, I mean, so we do actually provide shoes now. Yeah. We have a shoe for everyone. So if you come in, it's kind of like a bowling alley. We clean them, all that.
Of course.
After about a month, we recommend people buy their own shoes, weightlifting shoes. But we do have shoes to borrow. And so we'll have a lot of people, I'll tell them, hey, write your stuff on the board, go grab your shoes.
Yep.
And then once they come back out, I will have already had the opportunity to look at their warm-ups and how they've organized them. And I'll say, okay, your last warm-up is a little heavy, bring it down a little lighter. On your press, your first warm-up needs to be the empty bar, things like that. And then they'll start, adjusting that while I'm working with someone else. Then we'll rotate our way around and I'll be watching them warm up their work. And that's where we'll start saying like, okay, let's make sure we're doing this. Let's make sure we're doing that. We have the warm-up time to make sure that we're getting everything dialed in before the work sets.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then during the work sets, everybody has a timer and our clients know that they don't move that bar until they have one of our attentions. It doesn't have to be both of us if we're both coaching.
Yeah.
So if we have 5 people in a class and we're both in there, like we can have 2 people squatting at a time because I'm watching one and Aaron's watching the other.
Right. And I was going to ask you that too, of how that is important that they don't try to just pick that bar up, go do it themselves while you're maybe helping somebody else. There's a methodology behind this.
Well,
doing things methodically and being one-on-one with you. But if they're trying to say, I'm trying to maybe allude to somebody who's maybe overzealous.
Oh yeah, we have that. We just remind them like, hey, look, you're paying for the coaching.
Right.
Right. If you were to go to a restaurant and order a food and the chef is busy cooking someone else's food, are you going to go in the back and start cooking your own meal?
Right.
Like, why did you go to the restaurant?
Right.
So and I tell them, just wait, I'll be there in just a second.
Yep.
But that almost never happens because the way we have the timing organized in the class.
Yep, and I know that we'll get to that here in just a second too, because I know that it's almost planned out to the T. Realistically, it is like, hey, we have a intentionality behind every minute that you are here.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal.
But we don't put that burden on the member to understand.
Exactly.
It's on us to manage.
And that's what I was getting to here. Yeah. It's all here for you guys. It's all up here, and you guys are the ones orchestrating this. And that's why, it's 7-8 people might be in that gym.
Yep.
But it's a rotation.
Yeah.
It's like a dance.
100% of the time, if you're doing a work set, you will have a coach managing your work set with you. And you won't notice that the other people are in the room absorbing that time. The reason we want that is because you don't need to sit there and entertain a coach in between your sets, right?
Right.
Interact with the class, rest, get on your phone, do some work. I don't care. It's fine. But you have to rest between work sets.
Yeah.
That's the time while you're resting that I'm coaching someone else.
And you're resting 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I will, it does, during the squats, it feels a little chaotic.
It's very chaotic.
Sure.
But then it starts to by the time everybody's onto their upper body movement or whatever is next in their program, it starts to calm down just a little bit.
That's an artifact of the fact that everyone comes into class at 6 p.m., starts warming up at the same time, gets to their first work set around the same time.
Cause and effect,
right? Yep. But now, then once you get through that, some people are resting 3 minutes, some people are resting 4 minutes, some people are resting 5 minutes between their work sets, some people have 5 sets or 4 sets or 3 sets. It starts to kind of
Some people come on and they'll do 1 set of 5.
Yeah.
And they're done with squats in 20 minutes.
Yep.
So it starts to spread out, and we tell our clients too, like, don't start without us.
This is actually really important. She just mentioned something we haven't talked about before, but towards the end of this, I'd like to mention it. So if you're interested in becoming a starting strength coach at Starting Strength Omaha, pay very close attention to how we're describing the class environment, and that'll come up later in this little talk.
Absolutely. Actually, we are getting close to that. Actually, we are getting a little bit towards the end here. I do have a couple more questions lined up for you, but this one you've kind of already alluded to. I just wanted to see if there was any other shining examples that, since you guys now have brick and mortar, doors open over at Pepperwood Village.
Yeah.
Somebody with physical restrictions, you've already kind of alluded to this, that you do adapt the training of how you can help them. Now, you already had pointed out that there are certain diseases, certain things that will affect you that you cannot help with.
Yeah, but that's a very short list.
Very short list.
Yeah.
So I was curious if you have any maybe new members that you've acquired with the doors opening that you've had to help through a different kind of process like that.
Without saying names. Without saying names. We have a member who is a vegetarian.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's a struggle for strength training.
Yeah.
Right? So it's hard for her to get the protein she needs, but she's actually doing wonderful. She's found ways, and we've discussed it on multiple occasions.
That's fantastic.
She's found ways to increase her protein intake.
I imagine it's got to be like nuts and spinach.
A lot of like pea protein supplementation.
Okay, yeah.
She does actually eat eggs.
Okay.
And fish. So technically she's pescatarian, but she identifies herself as vegetarian.
Sure.
So I think she's been getting she's been eating a lot more fish. Like she told us,
which makes sense.
Going to Costco and getting fish.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those changes.
Yeah, subtle changes.
We also have, I think I spoke about it on the last podcast.
Yep.
We have a member who has a full spinal fusion or nearly full spinal fusion, which, starting out it was difficult. There was some stuff we had to modify, but I mean, now she trains like almost anyone else. She squats and deadlifts her own body weight. She does chin-ups, everything, right?
I love that.
Well, one of our members who has been training with us rather recently, it was like she started and then she had a boating accident.
Rough one too,
And she came in and she trained, and we totally, we knew her movements, but we almost started from ground zero again.
After only 2 weeks of training, she got in a boating accident.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And so we just modified it to be where she is, and then just slowly push it. Because what people don't understand is when you're injured, you actually want to flood that area with blood. Yeah. You need to use it.
Yeah.
That's not all injuries.
Not all injuries.
Well,
soft tissue injuries.
So in general, that's an important point that you don't let something heal.
You make it heal.
Yeah, you don't isolate something. Obviously, you don't isolate a lot of things like this to just not move. Yeah. It doesn't help it.
Yeah, so if you have low back pain, you're not going to just sit or lay in bed. That's not possible. Yeah. You're going to move throughout the day. And if people who have low back pain probably kind of notice my back doesn't bother me, the more I do stuff, it bothers me after I sit. And then I get up. Or I'm laying in bed all night and then I get up.
One of the more common things we get though is knee, hip, and back injuries. Yeah. These are very common to the human condition. And we get this almost exclusively. People coming into our gym tell us hey, my knee hurts, I can't squat. My back hurts, I can't deadlift. I recently had a hip replacement. If that's you, please come talk to us. This is kind of what we specialize in.
Right.
Even if it's before surgery, if you go into surgery stronger, you will recover faster.
You're gonna have better results.
Yeah. And if you just got out of surgery, once the stitches heal, the moment the stitches have healed and don't have an open bleeding wound, you need to come in and start strength training. And that's not going to look anything like what you think it's going to look like, but it's going to be effective.
I love that. Now, Aaron and Brittany, we are to the end of my professional repertoire questions. But before we flip over to the personal side of things and get to know you guys just a little bit better here, anything for the listeners at home that you'd like to talk about, promote, coming up, anything like that?
We're looking for an apprentice.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a very long roadmap to becoming a starting strength coach. But if you happen to have any experience in engineering, physics, kinesiology, biology, physiology,
physical therapist,
occupational therapist, like you're already set up for success ahead of the norm. We tell people all the time, becoming a starting strength coach is a labor of love. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to learn a lot. Even if you think you know everything already, I guarantee you're going to have to learn a lot. And that process is one absolutely worth undertaking because I feel like it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. Like the ability to see someone have their entire life changed by just helping facilitate them getting stronger is amazing.
Yeah.
My wife here is an occupational therapist. I'm sure she can't say this is more rewarding than that. But it might be close. Yeah, it might be close, but yeah.
It's just different from my line of work, what I see.
Yeah, sure.
They're both rewarding. I became an occupational therapist because I want to help people. And him wanting to open up Starting Strength Omaha and encouraging me to become a coach myself, I'm still helping people.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
I'm still getting that reward.
But if anyone's interested in learning about becoming a starting strength coach, absolutely come talk to us. We have some feelers out there to other Indeed, LinkedIn, and Handshake. But come talk to us in person. That's going to get better information that
Absolutely.
way.
And if you're listening to this podcast, of course, you can always comment on the podcast. I can get you information as well.
Yeah.
You can email me directly, of course. You can find all of our info on UIA.com or UnitedInsuranceAgencies.com.
Yep.
But I would happily put people in touch with you if that's the case.
Yeah, please do.
And they can also stop by the gym.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yeah, and coming up in October 26th, the Saturday, the last Saturday of October, right? That is what we call the Day of the Deadlift. At our gym on Saturday, starting at noon, running for about 2 or 3 hours, we're going to have a huge event for all of our members and anyone who wants to stop in. What we're doing is anyone who comes in, learn how to deadlift and set your first ever deadlift PR, right? Okay. So if you've never pulled anything heavy in your life, it's an interesting experience to learn how to pull and then pull something heavy. In addition to that, we're also going to have tacos and tequila. So
always a benefit.
Yeah, obviously tequila after you deadlift.
Yeah. Just on the safety side.
Costumes and children absolutely welcome. We're going to hand out candy. For the kids, sugar them up and send them home with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great event. I mean, you'll see us as the coaches where we plan on trying to set PRs.
Yep.
Aaron, what are you trying to go for?
Oh, it's been a while. I'm gonna try to pull something north of 600 this year.
Wow,
I have pulled north of 600 before, but it's been quite a while since I did that. So
I'd like to pull 350.
Yeah.
Wow, awesome.
Oh, you got that easy. Yeah.
Exciting. 341 is my current PR, but I know one of our members wants to get 500.
He's definitely gonna get it.
Oh,
he's so good at it. Yeah.
And we're
we have a little
throwing
competition with a few of the members against each other as well, where they're planning on trying
friendly
to pull.
competition.
Yeah, a little friendly competition.
I'd say we're throwing out large numbers but
we've been training for years and years.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't want that to discourage anybody. This is where you can eventually be if you want to get that far.
One of our members, we're thinking that her big PR is going to be 275, somewhere in that range.
Nice.
And that's awesome for her because that's going to be a huge, big jump in her strength.
That's a chunk of weight too.
It might be 135.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? That is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
We love that for where we just want members to come in. It's a fun event to just laugh and it's that atmosphere that you were talking about, how you just have these people that are just supporting you.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing what you can pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be out there. I'll be out there, and I don't know if I'll be in costume. I don't know.
You
have to wear a costume.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I already ordered mine. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. We'll figure something out then. But yeah, so that is October 26th, Day of the Deadlift. Come on out to Starting Strength Omaha over Pepperwood Village. If you are here in Omaha, you know right where to go then. Now, before we flip the side of the coin here, go back into the personal space. Anything else for the listeners? Where can we find you online? How do we get a hold of you if we are interested, if I can't stop out today?
Yeah. So call or text 402-769-3030. That's our phone number. Call or text it, please. Text is actually better, and then just kind of let me know when's a good time to call and talk to you, because it's if I have members training, I'm not going to stop coaching in order to answer the phone.
Right.
I would appreciate, this is a problem we've had, I would appreciate if you text me, let me know who you are.
just not, hey, I'm interested.
Yeah, just random texts of, hey, do you do strength training? Like, well, yeah. Hi, my name's Aaron.
Is this the IRS? No, I totally get it. So send you a text saying, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'd love to start training. When's a good time?
Yeah, that's a great way to start it.
Or even if it's like, hey, I have questions.
Yeah, just have questions.
Like, perfect.
Shoot us a text.
We are so easygoing that we will help you with whatever it is.
Absolutely. And if it's too complex for a text message and you want to send like an email, that's an easy one. It's omaha@ssgyms.com. Easy to remember.
Easy to remember. Alrighty, so reach on out today if you are interested in becoming a member at Starting Strength Omaha. This is the only location in Omaha, correct?
Yes, and it probably will be the only location ever in the state of Nebraska. We don't plan on opening a second facility. I would rather coach than be a business owner any day. Yeah.
No, and I point that out because this is, I guess, traditionally kind of been more of a southern gym.
I think
it's nationwide.
Is it nationwide? I couldn't quite remember our previous conversation on that.
Well, Texas is where it's heaviest because Texas is where it started.
That's what it was.
So the original facility was Wichita Falls Athletic Club in Wichita Falls, Texas.
Perfect.
And then there's like 3 gyms in the Dallas area, 2 gyms in the Austin area, 3 gyms in the Houston and San Antonio area each.
Is there 1 or 2 in San Antonio?
Yeah, I think there's 2 in San Antonio, 3 in Houston.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was a primary set or if it was just originated in.
But I mean, there's 5 in Atlanta within the next 2 years. They've decided to open 5 different gyms in Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah, because of the way the city's designed, there's 5 smaller gyms in Atlanta. We've got, and that's an important thing, is that your membership at our gym
goes everywhere.
While not on a contract, it is month to month. I want to be very clear there. Yep. No one pays a lengthy contract. You're not locked in.
You're not locked into us for 12 months.
Yeah, no.
Yes, no.
It's, you pay monthly, you stay monthly. It's valid at any Starting Strength gym nationwide.
So you don't have to miss that workout.
No, you don't. If you're traveling to Denver, there's a gym in Denver. Yeah.
And we can even, if you're going to go to South Padre, you are going to be there for 2 or 3 weeks. You can still train. Maybe to pay that drop-in fee at a gym. We'll tell you how we want you to record your lifts. Yeah. And then you just send them to us. We give you a little bit of feedback of, hey, do this, do that next time you lift.
That's an interesting way to do that,
Yeah, and we want you to training. I mean, or just enjoy your vacation.
Or you can just
that's okay too. Like if you want to train, because we do have people that want to train on vacation. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll help you train on vacation. But my recommendation typically is, if you're going to train 12 months a year and you have a 2-week vacation, take a break.
You'll be okay.
You'll be fine. Go take a break.
I like that.
Yeah.
And when you come back, goes back to that knowing of and having coaching. We know what we need to do, where to get you started to continue your progress.
Yep. I love that. Now, personal side of things, it's the burning questions here.
Oh, these are the most important things on here.
These are the hot ones. Yeah. And Brittany, I'm sure after you're probably glancing through these, you can tell that I geared these specifically for Aaron. I wasn't sure. I wasn't aware that you were coming in today. So
he walked in the door and he's like, just so you know, he doesn't know that you're here. I'm like, great, love that.
No, it was a pleasant surprise, and I'm happy that both of you were able to make it out. I would, again, these are primarily geared for Aaron, but I'm going to try to get some good ones for you as well.
Yeah. I'll switch it to what I want.
And if you could up and go, do anything, anywhere, anytime, for a week, what you do, where you go, and how does that look?
I'm going to answer this for her.
Oh,
watch this. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
She would either go hiking in the mountains.
Okay.
Or she would go horseback riding, and if possible, both.
Your answer is wrong, because the answer is a week is not long enough.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. Fair enough.
There we go.
No, I would go just about anywhere in the world. Aaron and I met in Germany, and we traveled a lot over there. So I really miss traveling. Somebody said open a business, and then we can't travel. But I think my ideal vacation right now would be to go on a nice long week trail ride where you're camping in the mountains, riding horses up in the wilderness. It just sounds like a dream.
It sounds like
Aaron's
a
worst
nightmare.
nightmare. Yeah, I was like, Aaron's worst nightmare
She's
here.
going to go on the trail ride. I'm going to go sit at a very expensive resort somewhere and have someone bring me Mai Tai. Well, not Mai Tais. I hate coconut. But, daiquiris or something while the waves wash in on the beach in front of me. Yeah.
I'm unfortunately I'm with Aaron on this one. I grew up in rural nowhere, and I could go walk in whatever direction I wanted and have that.
Well, nothing ruins camping for you like joining the Army for 20 years, okay?
That's fair.
Yeah.
You know what? That's fair.
I'll join you on the beach as well, but we're going to go hiking on the beach.
I'm fine with hiking, yeah. Just no more horseback riding on the beach. Never again.
That sounds like a bad idea. Yeah. Just knowing how horses can behave, that sounds like a bad idea. Anyway, so now I'll kind of incorporate a couple of different options. So would you rather have a flight of, like a full flight of beer to sample out and try, or a flight of whiskey or maybe a liquor of your preference? For you, maybe if you are wine, if you're whiskey, I'm not sure. I've never asked you that question.
I know, but just because I'm a woman, I drink wine.
No, but all women that I know drink wine.
I actually would do beer.
Okay.
I would prefer beer. I'm more of a Hefeweizen girl or a sour. Like I love a good sour.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You are a sour
athlete. Definitely not IPAs.
I'm not an IPA. Yeah, those things. It's just something about that over hoppy.
It's an acquired taste for some people, just not mine either. Yeah, it's just not my taste.
We love going to breweries. We actually live by Nebraska Brewing Company, which can be dangerous.
Yeah,
you should tell them they should come on the podcast.
Between that and the Rotella Bread Factory,
it just smells like
bread
all the time.
Yeah. Gluten allergies, worst nightmare right over there.
But
no kidding.
Or I love coffee, so I would do a coffee flight too.
That's interesting because there are a lot of different
coffee flights.
Yeah, they do. Zen does a coffee.
Yeah, I was like, there's a couple of places that kind of do them just because there's that many.
Yeah, but every coffee you would order would just be pumpkin spice.
No, that's right now they would be.
Yeah, all of them now are. Come on.
But, come January 1st, no.
Yeah.
Aaron, same question. Beer flight, whiskey flight?
I'll answer for him. He's going to pick whiskey.
Yeah. Definitely a whiskey flight. In fact, I'm sad I'm going to miss the Omaha Whiskey Festival this year.
You are?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it out to it. It's just one of those things. It was a wonderful time last year. A couple of our friends are going. I don't know. I haven't decided. I might go ahead and buy a last minute ticket and go, but...
Well, if you do, you let me know. I'll go. I'll keep a battle buddy system.
Yeah, I need be a designated driver.
We'll figure that part out later.
I got a 22-year-old daughter. She can drive.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, we're going to give you $20 here. You can pick us up and drive us home. I love it. Now, Mount Rushmore of your preferred choice here. So you said some lighter beers like some Hefeweizers. You said whiskey. So what is your kind of like Mount Rushmore right now of those kinds of beers? Your sours as well? I don't know if you've had it, but have you Boulevard Noir?
I haven't had that one.
I'll have to find some and drop some off for you guys because that is a very sour beer and I love it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is so good.
I don't know if I necessarily have a Mount Rushmore.
Well, there's that one you had at Heavy Brewing. I can't remember what it was called. Anytime Heavy Brewing makes something down there in Gretna, it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah,
Heavy Brewing's fantastic.
Heavy Brewing. I mean, I don't think I go and I have like my go-to.
That's all right because I think that I sometimes fall into having a go-to sometimes a little too often.
That can be had,
to where I'm like, I'm going to go with a summer shandy and I drink like 2 sips into it. I'm like, this is not what I wanted.
You like that? You like that Berry Weiss that we got last time? That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Was it Kugel's
Berry Weiss?
That was really good.
That was good. That was really good.
Yeah.
I do remember there was a wine. Now I'm throwing something else out there. Fair. There is a wine.
That's fair. I asked you your general Mount Rushmore.
In Texas. Oh my gosh. I can't remember what it was called. Texas Wellwater, I think is what it was called. It's a wine. It's from a winery that's out by Fredericksburg. And it tastes like an adult Capri Sun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dangerous.
That's delicious.
Yeah, you couldn't even taste the alcohol in it.
And then
that's how you end up
stumbling around Fredericksburg.
For anyone that's been in the Army and been to Korea, what she's talking about is called soju.
I love that.
Yeah.
Aaron?
Mount
Rushmore of whiskey, what you got?
Ooh, so my number one is probably Willet.
Okay.
Willet's my go-to right now. But recently I've had Sideshow comes out of Lincoln, Nebraska.
Never had Sideshow.
Yeah, so one of our friends, again, mutual friend of ours, Jamie.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Jamie.
Shout out
Nebraska
Jamie
Realty.
Morrissey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you need a place,
Friend of the
call
podcast.
Jamie. Yeah. She, when we got our retail space taken care of as like a gift, she brought me a bottle of Sideshow whiskey.
Cool.
And I love it. Oh my God, I love it. We went to a restaurant here or down in Bellevue.
In Papillion.
In Papillion. Sorry, Papillon.
Papillion.
Yeah, Papillon. We do this all day.
Everybody, Aaron's not from Nebraska.
Yeah, no, I'm actually from the South where we speak French properly.
Well, welcome to Nebraska, where we don't believe any language exists outside of it.
That's fair. Yeah.
And we make up words.
Like Beatrice.
And Exarban.
And then, yeah, oh man, that would threw me off for a
Did
while.
that not? I was going to say,
that
did
threw
that
me
not
off
just
at
trip
first.
you
I'm
up?
looking at it like, that's just Nebraska backwards.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what on earth.
awesome.
Yeah, but that's
I love it though. I love it.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
It's cool, but
yeah, down there in Papillon, we went to a place called Talus.
Okay.
And they had some Sideshow on the bar there too as well, and it was very good. So that's probably my new one. I'm trying to explore, trying to get different versions of that where I can, because I really liked it. Yeah,
I like it. I'm gonna have to pick some up then. I haven't dabbled in new whiskeys.
Just come over to
for
the
a
house.
while.
I'll let you have some of mine first before you spend money on it.
Sounds good. We'll have to figure that out.
Oh yeah.
Now the burning question is the Mount Rushmore of Omaha. What do you guys got
That's
here?
a loaded question.
It's
Since I
great
grew up
because
here.
you're not a native of Omaha. I think this makes it even better. And you growing up here, you're probably going to have some different answers that I don't hear very often.
I was going to say, I need almost like a specific, what am I looking for?
Your Mount Rushmore could include food. It could be, perfect date night spot that you guys like to go to. It could be the best entertainment venue you go to. It could be the best whatever in your mind.
Well, I'll say mine first so she doesn't take
Fair.
it and actually use it, because I said it last time on the podcast, and I hope they'll listen. Jackson Street Tavern.
Yes.
That place is amazing. I love it. If you have never been, get the chicken fried chicken. It's not called chicken fried chicken. I think it's just called buttermilk fried chicken. Oh my God, it's amazing. Or the ahi tuna nachos for the appetizer. Absolutely amazing. And I know that she loves it as well, but that's probably not going to be her Mount Rushmore, because she's going to think more Omaha local.
Well, so my brain goes to the staples that if you from Omaha, you kind of grew up with it. For a burger, I love Stella's. Stella's down
God,
in
that place is
Bellevue.
good. Yeah, I forgot about
If
that.
it weren't for the fact that it's so far, we probably would go there a lot more often.
That's fair.
But then, the downtown area is my favorite area. So, growing up, going to Spaghetti Works and...
Yeah.
I still can't get my mind around that.
I'm curious about Spaghetti Works in general.
Spaghetti, an all-you-can-eat pasta place like that. It's
Listen, Linda.
Hey.
interesting.
Hey, here in Nebraska, we're carby and we like it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. It's not bad. I like it.
No,
yeah,
it's,
I like
it's a great place.
Yeah.
But again, just a true kind of staple of Omaha as well.
Don and Millie's.
Don and Millie's.
I like a Don and Millie's burger.
Interesting.
But I also I grew up going to Big Fred's off
love Big Fred's.
120th and Pacific.
So when I first moved over to Omaha, my dad calls me, and it was literally the day of. I moved everything over. I just got settled for the evening. He calls me that night. He's like, "Hey, everything go well?" Yeah, of course. He goes, "Hey, while you're there, I know you're." This time I was around 120th and Center.
Yeah.
So I wasn't far from it.
Not at all.
And he's like, "I know you're close to this. Go and get yourself some of this pizza." I was like, "Okay, old man." All right. Game changer.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Game changer. I was like, "This is fantastic."
Pretty good pizza.
We've been going there my entire life. There is a woman who still works there who does the whole when I saw you, you were in a baby carrier.
Yeah.
Well, your mom worked there for a while just to pick
My
up some
mom
extra shifts.
and my brother both worked there for a while. And then, so here's a little bit of just history for me. I did do a bodybuilding competition about 10 years ago now. And any bodybuilder knows, you want that epic cheat meal after.
Oh, yeah.
And I told my mother to bring me a Big Fred's pizza with hamburger and all the cheeses. And she made sure it was uncooked, and then she put it in a cooler, and she brought it down, and I threw it in my oven, and I had a Big Fred's pizza as my post-competition meal. I guess Big Fred's might be my Mount Rushmore.
Big Fred's might just have a spot up there. I do love that. Now, Aaron, you had Jackson Street Tavern. Any others on there that you want to throw on your list?
Oh, I mean, I forgot about Don and Billy's. I forgot about Stella's. I love a good burger. So yeah, those are both.
Any place that has a good burger.
Any place has a good burger.
And I'm living dangerously because they just put in a chard in La Vista.
A chard's not bad.
I like chard. I like those thinner burgers. Yeah, I'm kind of in the fans of those.
Yeah, I think as far as like places I regularly go, I mean. I go to Raising Cane's just because I like chicken tenders, and it's gone. It's not as good as it used to be, but it's better than most other chicken tenders you can get.
Absolutely.
Out there.
I really think it's like they just like are forgetting like a pinch of salt or something in the seasoning.
Yeah,
I guess there's something that's just wrong. Like something's missing.
Something's missing from what it used to be.
I used to be
or it could just be our taste buds changing.
That is true. Every 7 years, I think they change. But in all fairness, too, I did used to be sponsored by Raising Cane's.
Did you?
In my radio era.
So you're not biased at all.
Not at all. But no, that was the things. I loved them over in Norfolk. I was like their hype man for sure. Yeah. And then, before I left, I got one more meal from Norfolk and was like, all right, these guys are great.
I'm sorry, from where?
Norfolk.
Norfolk?
No. Actually, here's your fun radio fact of the day, Aaron.
Yeah.
Norfolk, Nebraska was actually spelled Norfork.
Okay, that's Norfolk.
The government, when they submitted their claim for a settlement,
we're going to go into government ineptitude now.
Changed it to Norfolk,
as
in Norfolk, Virginia, because they thought that they were trying to replicate it. However, it was called Norfolk because it is north of the fork of the river. It is Norfolk.
Hey, I just learned some Omaha history here. I love Nebraska history. Oh, that's pretty cool.
There's your useless.
And I'm always a huge fan of any fact that points out how inept the government is. So
that one's a good one. That was a perfect one.
That is a definably fun fact.
Yeah, that is a fun fact for me that I knew that. But yeah, so that does wrap up today's episode. Of course, I'm so thrilled again. First ever returning guest, and I was
starting a trend.
While we're recording this, I guess I could make this announcement because by the time we hear this, we're going to have way past that. But we have finally, and just today, have broken over 300 listeners.
Hey,
awesome. That's awesome.
So, yes, a big part of that is due to you and your episode. So a big thank you to you, and thanks for coming back.
Who's the other one that's been listened to as much as us?
So you are in second place.
Yeah.
As of when they're recording this, of course, but for now, when we're recording this, you're in second with, I believe, 20 total. Above you is Tada Home Solutions with Deanna Raybuck and
awesome.
Tia Carlson.
They're actually
super cool people.
I can't talk shit about them.
No, they're just above you though at 24. Yeah. And then, funny enough, Monday's episode, this past Monday that we're recording, I uploaded Christensen Cleaning and Restoration. Mm-hmm. I interviewed Jim Rusk, met him at our cigar. That was at our cigar lounge for our networking group that we did. We went out to the cigar lounge, and it was kind of Andrew kind of orchestrated a lot of Andrew Feder, friend of the show as well. Mm-hmm. And I got to meet Jim out there and just got to talk with him. Good connection, good person in general. That episode is now the number 3rd listened to.
Oh, he's coming fast.
Before recording this episode, he had 19 listens. After 24 hours, he had 17.
Oh, no.
He's killing it.
So if you're listening to this, I need you to share this episode to every person you know on your friends list at I would say like on a daily, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, daily. Please share it daily. We got to win.
Yeah. See, we're all competitive. No, we're not competitive at all. But no, I do want to say a giant thank you because you guys, again, Aaron, you are one of the first episodes we had on here. I know to think about it. We started this actually February tomorrow.
Wow,
where we're at.
Wow.
Yeah, already. So we're pretty much 7 months, and we're already hitting that point of things, and it's a large part of you and the amazing businesses we get to talk to.
So, I'm already a fan. You don't have to blow smoke up my ass.
You're a fan of yourself.
No vanity.
Shots fired.
No vanity over here. No, it's a genuine thank you and a genuine appreciation for being a part of this and watching this grow with each other. And watching where Starting Strength is just going.
And you're a part of that.
Awesome.
You're a huge part of that. So I want to make sure you understand that we appreciate everything you do as well.
I'm very happy to be a part of it, and thank you for that. Anything before we leave the listeners?
Please come see us. Come see us.
Come have that conversation. Start your improvement on better life.
The conversation is as simple as what we're doing right here.
Yeah. Absolutely. And hey, it's just this easy. You don't have to be their close buddy. You can just walk up to them and have a good conversation like this.
Yeah.
They're easygoing people, I promise. Again, we've had the distinct pleasure of revisiting with Aaron Frederick, Starting Strength Coach at Starting Strength Omaha, and getting the distinct pleasure to a first-time guest, Brittany Frederick. Doctor, almost said director, not director. Not a director, actually a doctor. No, she's a doctor of occupational therapy. Again, assisting over at Starting Strength Omaha. Guys, again, thank you for coming on the show. Come see them out at Pepperwood Village if you are here in Omaha. Find them on Facebook. Give them a like. And hey, start that better path of living better today.
Because stronger is better.
Stronger is better. Strength is life. Yep. Starting Strength Omaha. Don't forget it. And of course, don't forget, there's always more here on the UIA Trusted Partners Podcast.